Okay, we're ready? Okay. Hello, my name is Jacob Sherman, and I'm with the Oklahoma State University Library, and it's part of the O State Stories program with the Oklahoma Research Project, Oral History Research Project. We're interviewing Robert Reynolds today here, OSU alum, and today is October 17th, 2008. First off, I just want to say thank you for giving me your time today. I know you're busy, you want to meet your fellow alums. I just thank you firsthand. Want to thank you for giving me the time so we can interview. So, thank you first off. Let's just start a little bit about yourself. Like, where did you grow up, and what was your family like, and just your years prior to your OSU experience. What was that like?
I have a story probably very different from most in that I grew up in a professional military family.
Okay.
So after 12 states and 2 countries, my dad retired from the United States Air Force. We found ourselves in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma.
Okay.
So I was born in Rome, New York, and lived all over the place. We had a car that went east to west twice, but never west to east because we went around the world. But once arriving in Oklahoma, my parents are both native Californians. They decided that wasn't the pace of life they wanted after my dad retired, and they chose Oklahoma City. From there, it was pretty easy to go on campus tours or whatever and figure out that this has got to be the greatest place in the world. So that's how we chose Oklahoma State.
Okay. What high school did you go to?
Graduated from Carl Albert High School in the Midwest City area.
Okay. What year did you graduate high school?
1980.
1980. So you're a young alum, as they would say.
That'd be the first time I've heard that today.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess is in the line of Pete's. I guess I am kind of in the middle, if you will.
Oh, you're a Pete?
Former Pistol Pete.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's okay. Sorry about that. All right, that leads me on to other questions. I do apologize. That's cool. Now that let's get back to what did you major here at OSU? What was your major?
My undergraduate work was in the College of Business, and I was a marketing major.
Okay. Did you, besides being a Pistol Pete, did you do any other campus activities?
I had a couple of different jobs. I worked in what was called Talkback TV for a couple of years, and then
what was that?
It was Talkback TV. It was the educational TV, and it was so primitive at the time. It was a couple of buttons in a studio, and they needed a student back in the back of the classroom to punch the buttons to direct the professor and the students to questions at our satellite campuses. I also worked as a houseboy at the Kappa House. I was in the Sigma Nu fraternity.
Okay.
So yeah, lots of campus activities.
So what was your fraternity involvement like?
Lots of activities from freshman follies to spring sings, the spring festivals, Greek week, you name it. I seem to volunteer and play in all of them.
Oh, nice. What made you want to join a fraternity?
It was really a group of high school friends that introduced me to the concept. Neither of my folks were in the Greek system when they were in college. And with introduction to that and looking at a couple of different houses, I ended up as a Sigma Nu. Yes. And a terrific set of guys at the time. All the peer pressure seemed to be right. They were respectful guys. They had tradition. They were great athletes. They did pretty well on the grades, and campus involvement and campus leadership was kind of the thing that was always talked about in the house. So we had lots of student senate kinds of guys, and
yes.
and lots of homecoming leadership kinds of guys, and blue key kinds of guys, and seemed to be a really good fit. And I found myself in an environment where you always want to surround yourself with people better than you are. Mm-hmm. And I certainly did that by picking that house.
Okay. Now, you said your parents went to college? Did your siblings also go to college?
Yeah, interestingly enough, my older sister had come to Oklahoma State and was here for a couple years before she fell in love and did that tragic thing of following the boy off campus, and so she finished in the University of Texas system. My younger sister followed me to Oklahoma State, and while my folks were a little hesitant about the Greek system when I went through,
Okay.
they insisted that she be a part of the Greek system because it was such a positive influence on me.
What?
So she ended up here 4 years after I did, so she was here 84 to 88, and she was a Theta.
Okay. Okay. Now, did your involvement in the fraternity lead you to becoming a Pistol Pete, or how did that come about?
There was a Pistol Pete a couple years ahead of me by the name of Don Giles.
Okay.
And Don was, I guess he was a senior and I was a freshman. And so the head and the costume were in the house.
Yeah.
Don Giles was probably the funniest, most creative person I ever met in my life. And I wanted to be like Don. And so as I pursued this thing, I wasn't successful the first time.
Okay.
But I don't take to not being successful very well, so I went over to find out what I did wrong or what I could do better. And that's when I was introduced to a guy by the name of Kurt Carter, who is now a lifelong friend. We've been in each other's weddings.
Oh, nice.
But Kurt was really helpful to say, hey, Rob, you really need to do this, and you ought to work on that, and you ought to think about volunteering to do this. And so I did lots of stuff to represent the university even before I was Pete. Through the Alumni Association, where you guys do your honors banquets or whatever.
Yes.
I was the student speaker for a couple of years.
Oh, good for you.
So it gave me a great background. I was a much better interview when I went back in for the interview the next time for the Pistol Pete job.
Okay. What years were you Pistol Pete?
From 82 to 83, I was what then they called the alternate Pete.
Okay.
Now it's kind of a two-guy thing, but then it was an alternate and the guy.
Okay.
And as the alternate, you were just there when the other guy had to study for a test,
Yes.
or something like that. He didn't have any kind of rules as to how many games he needed to share with you or any of that kind of stuff. But great experience, just made you hungrier for more. So 83 to 84, I was
The
Pete,
guy.
the guy.
The Pete.
The Pete.
So, can you tell me? Can you describe your tryout process? What was that like?
First part is, as I understand it, the first part is they screen the application. After the screen, they talk to about a dozen folks. It's a 20 to 25 minute interview, as I remember it, both as a Pete and then being on the interview panel. And then they actually have you put on the head. In my case, they didn't ask us to think about scenarios or situations. They asked me to bring to life emotions. So, hey, Pete, act angry. Hey, Pete, act sad. Hey, Pete, act. So I portrayed emotions to show them that I kind of knew what I was doing.
Now, was that nerve-wracking during that process, or?
Sure, absolutely, particularly since I wasn't successful the first time.
Yes.
But the second, the third time, it was more exhilarating. You were much more comfortable underneath that 35 pounds of head that wobbles, and I knew lots more people on the panel than I did the year before. But you're always a little apprehensive that some superstar is going to come in right behind you and steal that opportunity from you. But
steal your head, basically.
No, it was great fun, terrific experience.
Yes. Can you? Now we're gonna get more into you being as the guy, the Pete.
Okay.
Can you describe like the setup, the costume? Can you describe for us what that's like? What?
Well, you try and imagine that first couple of games during the season. I had no idea you could lose that much weight in that short a period of time. You're wearing blue jeans and boots. You put on a leather set of chaps. You put on a leather vest, and then you go out and you have so much fun. You're not even thinking about being hot. I can remember coming home and collapsing at the end of the first couple of football games, just being exhausted from the heat and not hydrating enough.
Yes.
But the energy and the people's response to you just keeps you going full speed the whole time.
Yes. Now, can you describe this costume for me?
Yeah, I had a unique situation where the standard head was what I'd gotten used to as the alternate. Somebody discovered what we then referred to as the new head. It was a much lighter head. It got sent to the university. Somebody had it hidden away, not even a part of Oklahoma State. And it came in, it was a much lighter fiberglass. It only weighed about 20 or 25 pounds rather than the 35 pounds. But for me, it was my own boots, no spurs, my own jeans, chaps that were probably twice as old as I was, um, and my own shirt. You know, now they're giving all this stuff,
Yes.
and all the stuff is new, and there's a tradition of spurs that I don't know anything about and never experienced. I was under student services rather than the athletic department. I
Oh,
was the
okay.
last Pete to report to student services. So when student services ran out of money, that was it. So when the vest got ripped,
You had to provide for it.
I invented the idea that Pete ought to show up in suspenders. So I had orange and black suspenders on
Nice.
until I could save enough money to buy a new black vest. Um, the gun was an interesting phenomenon for me, having not grown up around guns.
You went in the military?
So
With the military?
my dad wasn't a hunter and was an Air Force guy that left the guns at the office,
Okay.
so to speak. And not being an Oklahoman, I wasn't introduced to hunting.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was pretty apprehensive and really paid attention when it came time for gun training and gun safety and gun cleaning and those kinds of things. But to be carrying around a 357 Magnum
Yes.
was quite something. And they also had at the time we carried a double-barreled shotgun, which was just quite amazing to me that you could walk around. In this day and time, I'm surprised Pete still has a gun,
Yes.
but I'm pleased he does. I think it's a part of the lore.
Yes. Now, can you describe what kind of gun training did you have to do for this?
I actually my training was actually here in Stillwater. I think it was with the police department or the sheriff's department, but the two of us had to go in and somebody took us through the safety of our gun and that kind of thing. But it wasn't campus police, but it was either the Stillwater or the sheriff. I can't remember which one.
Okay. Now, did you have to do the training twice since you were, or did the 1 year of training suffice?
All I remember was the first year because I was so intent on being sure I knew what I was going to do. I don't remember if I had to go through it a second time.
Okay. Now, what was your first event as Pistol Pete?
My first event was the Big 12 baseball game.
Okay.
Because you take over after the
Yes, in the springtime.
towards the end of the year, and I was so anxious to get underneath the head and had it at home, and getting ready for. We went off to camp during that time. I don't know if the Petes still do that, but we went off to cheerleading camp, and it was tough duty. But then they break you off and you go to mascot class.
Yes.
And so I had it at home. The Big 12 or Big 8 tournament at the time was hosted in Oklahoma City.
Yes.
So I went out for the baseball games and made it my own first appearance. I don't know if I was sanctioned to be there or not, but I pulled up and acted like I knew what I was doing, and they let me in the gate, and I went in and had a great time.
Yes. Now, what was that feeling like? Was there? Did you get a rush, or did you?
Oh,
nervous?
it's an absolute natural high.
Yeah.
You hear about runners' highs or whatever. That's what I expected every time I put on the costume.
Right.
And during that period of time, we were a pretty good baseball team. And not only we were a pretty good baseball team, but we were a pretty good offensive baseball team.
Yes.
So there was lots of opportunity to hop on top of dugouts and have the ball sail away.
Yes.
And it was even better when half the crowd was orange and half the crowd was wearing red because the other school in the state was a pretty good baseball team at the time too. So.
Now, speaking of rivals, now did you have any problems as Pistol Pete dealing with fellow Big 8 schools, or did you have any stories that you could share with us?
No problems. If you don't mind oranges being thrown at you, because OU clinched the berth to the Orange Bowl one year while I was Pete, and I happened to be in Norman. So
Nice.
As a part of their celebration, the oranges came out of the stands, and they seemed to all be coming towards wherever I was.
Yeah.
I don't know where the rest of the field was, but one of the greatest stories of all time in my experience was we were at the University of Colorado, and I'm just standing around in the white shirt,
Yes.
jeans and boots, and a winter jacket, and I see a guy in a suit and top coat talking to some folks from the Oklahoma State official party,
Mm-hmm.
and behind him is a campus cop, and they're talking, and then they point me out, and they come over, and the guy in the suit says, "Hey, I want to introduce you to Deputy so-and-so. He will be your escort today." And I said, "Well, why do I need an escort?" And he said, "Well, at the University of Colorado, they're allowed to drink in the stadium." And I don't know if you can remember that time frame, but the University of Colorado wasn't very good. And so the crowd was drowning their sorrows somewhere around the first quarter. And apparently the week before, Herbie the Husker was walking around, and the students grabbed him and moved him up in the stands, and then he disappeared. Well, Herbie came out in nothing but boxers, and his costume had gone every direction. And so for me, they put this deputy behind me all day long. No problems, but it was interesting to know that I was 1 week away from that. But no problems.
Now, did you have any wardrobe malfunctions or anything funny like that ever happen to you?
No.
No.
I didn't. I had trouble a couple of times with gaining the respect that I thought Pete deserved. For example, a guy came to me and asked me if I would make his marriage proposal for him. I said, sure, I'd be happy to do that. We talked for about 30 minutes, and he handed me the ring and he left. I'd never seen him before. I don't know how he ever expected to see me again. That kind of trust was unbelievable to me. But I called all the major media in both Tulsa and Oklahoma City and said, hey, I'm about to do this thing. You're probably going to want it. You just couldn't gin up the respect among the media for that thing. But so I had to create my own. So I enlisted family and friends to bring video cameras out and those kinds of things, so that young couple could have some kind of a, memory of this thing, since we couldn't get a news clip or whatever. But no costume malfunctions. I drove a Volkswagen Bug at the time, so anytime I went anywhere, I had to take the front seat out to get the head in to go make appearances. So I had car malfunctions.
Oh boy.
I had a tradition of not being seen. You either got seen with the whole costume on, or you weren't seen. And I went to a wedding reception, and I went in my jeans and shirt and told the person who invited me that I was there, and he said, great, go get dressed. I said, okay. And so I went out into the lobby and couldn't find any place to get dressed, so I stepped into a stairwell and got dressed. And when I went to open the stairwell door, it's a one-way lock. So now I'm stuck. I'm supposed to appear in the wedding reception in a few minutes, and the only person that knows I'm coming is the bride's dad, and so he's a little busy. So I just stood out there until somebody finally heard me tapping on the door to let me back in. But it was, I guess that was maybe the costume malfunction you were looking for. But stuck in a stairwell for a few minutes.
Now, you talked about not being seen, like getting dressed, undressed. Is that a main do and don't? Are there any other do's and don'ts that as being with Pistol Pete that you had to follow?
I didn't have a lot of written rules, or at least they weren't handed to me, and I didn't know them. I just I thought it best, after conversations with Don Giles and Kurt Carter, I just thought it was best to not talk underneath the head, to do everything in kind of pantomime, and to not be seen taking the head off and on. And I later validated that for my own self. I was at a high school game, appearing at the request of an alum at a big, huge high school in Oklahoma, and there was no place for me to go get a break. And so during halftime, I walk off and try and slide underneath the stands. And I had no idea there's a little girl following me at the time. And when the head hit the ground, this screech goes up from this little girl, I guess thinking she'd just seen somebody get beheaded or something. But I scared the fire out of her as I was trying to just get someplace and hidden away. But no, the stress was be respectful. Remember that you're representing all of us that wear black and orange. But there weren't any rules.
Okay. Now, speaking of events, how many events did you do when you were the main Pete? Like, how many events per year?
People asked me that the year I was the alternate, and so I really did keep a good number, and I did over 400.
Oh wow!
The year I was Pete.
Oh wow! How were you compensated?
There was through the university. they would book your appointments,
Okay.
and they would stress to people, hey, this is a college kid. You owe him X number of cents a mile. And then they suggest an honorarium of $25.
Okay.
And so that was the way you were compensated for the off the campus kinds of a thing.
Yes.
I think I was pretty close to the last Pistol Pete who got a scholarship.
Okay.
But I actually got a $500 stipend for books.
Oh wow.
And when Pete was shifted over to the athletic department, they weren't ready to do that for the cheerleaders, and so I think I was the last one to get that, but I don't know that for sure.
Now, speaking of, you said you did over like 400 events. How did you crunch? How did you bring in your schooling and doing the Pistol Pete? Was that difficult for you to do, or what was that like for you?
I had a great set of friends, and I had a great work environment. So as a houseboy, I worked a lot of other times and covered other people's shifts, so that they were willing to cover mine when it was time for that kind of a thing. But actually, my grade point got better. The busier you got, the more focused you knew you needed to be. So for every hour of study, you were getting an hour. Where before, I got a couple hours, so I can run and get this Coke, or I can visit with this person. For me, it was shut the door and get it done, because that's the only time you got. So
now, did you have a much social life as Pistol Pete when you were Pistol Pete, or?
I did the fraternity things where I could, but I was either a little late to the events, or left a little early, because lots of times it would piggyback on. But no, it's a trade-off. It's a half a time job almost, by the time you build in the events and getting to them and getting back away from them. But everybody was fine with it, and the trade-offs didn't seem to matter to me. I just loved it.
Now, did you have to be physically fit, or did you have to work out to be like Pistol Pete, or what kind of toll it took on you?
For me, I don't know. I've always been a person of physical fitness, not a nut, but I do something 4 or 5 times a day. To this day, I'm still doing something 4 or 5 times a week. So for me, it wasn't a build up for or whatever.
Okay, and now what type of events did you do? Did you like weddings? You said you mentioned you did weddings, or any other events that stick out in your mind?
You get invited by lots of folks, alums around town, who want you to come be in their hometown parade.
Yes.
So I did the Bristow parade, I did the Owasso parade, I did the Middale parade. I did birthday parties. The wedding reception was was really kind of strange to me, but it was a family friend, and I was certainly happy to honor that. Appearances in classrooms, appearances for the state chamber, appearances for the Alumni Association. I wanted full advantage of this thing, so I attended lots of the women's sporting events. Having not been a resident Oklahoman and a transported Oklahoman, the enthusiasm for wrestling and the time and the timing to be a good mascot for wrestling was something I needed to learn. It wasn't something that I knew. But you name it, I think Pete's done it.
Yes.
I won't steal another guy's thunder, but if you guys interview Rick Wilson, you need to ask Rick about some great experiences, because I think he's actually snow skied with the head on.
Yeah, I heard that story.
But Pete's kind of everywhere.
That's right. Now, do you have a most memorable non-athletic Pistol Pete story that you would be willing to share, or anything that sticks out, or?
The marriage proposal was pretty interesting. It was at a game. Let me think about that one for a minute.
Okay, that's Now, what was your favorite sport to be Pistol Pete at, or what one was like that just you like every time you had to go, you're like got really, really, really pumped up for it?
No doubt, football was kind of we were a pretty good football team then, and on a roll, and you had a whole week to think about.
Yeah.
What do I want to do? How do I want to play the theme in? What can I do big? And then how can I get the university to agree to let me do that? But football without a doubt. The crowd's huge. The game, the day starts early. There are different alumni association things to go to. There's different tailgate things you need to go to. Somebody wanted me to show up for the band, show them some respect.
Yeah.
So football without a doubt is the one you'd get the most fired up for because you had the anticipation.
Well, could you describe like a typical like game day? Like what time did you get up, or like what time did you actually events start rolling?
Yeah, game day, for me, game day typically started somewhere around 9:30 or 10, and it was typically an alumni association or a geographic posse club kind of a tailgate thing. And then I always tried to do something in the tailgating lot.
Yes.
To thank the fans for being there. So you're starting early, and it's probably a couple hours after the game before you finally load it into the car and disappear. Yeah. Yep.
Now, how often did you travel to away games?
Again, I was part of student services, so the stories you're going to hear from the Pete's from after me, they did a lot more of the away game stuff. I think I only got 3 or 4 away date games, and that was over the course of the 2 years. And as I remember it, I think it was the OSU posse had to raise enough money to get me to buy me a seat on the posse bus to go. But the best away game without a question for me was my senior year when we were in the bowl game.
What bowl game was that?
It was down in Houston. I think it was called the Houston Bowl at the time. I don't think there was even a one of those sponsor kinds of things. But I very specifically remember that because I came in what we called jams at the time. They were oversized shorts.
Yes.
And they were kind of the shorts of today's style, where they're really baggy and really long, but big, bright colors. So I came in wearing jams and the oversized glasses on the head, and had a camera hanging around my neck, and had a suitcase. And I walked into the stadium, and I walked completely around the field and then back into the tunnel to put on the traditional stuff. I thought that was pretty clever, pretty funny, but not disrespectful to the character of Pistol Pete.
Yes.
The alums who attended the game apparently didn't feel that way, because by the time I got home or got back after Christmas break, I had been called in to have a discussion about how I need to show a little more respect to the tradition of the university and of the university mascot. So,
now speaking of that tradition, what does portraying a real life character mean to you?
That's a real hot button for me. After I graduated and became a part of the Pistol Pete interview process before I moved away, I insisted that we spend the money to buy the Frank Eaton book and ask the new Pistol Pete to read it.
Yes.
That guy was a hoot, a character, and a great story, and you ought to be able to tell that story if in fact you're going to portray that. So that's a real hot button for me. I think it's important to know about the university. I think it's important to know about the man, and I think it's important to tell folks.
Now does Represent Frank Eaton for you different than, say, the Baylor Bear or Ralphie the Buffalo? Does that add more honor because you're portraying a real life character?
I think wearing a furry suit with a tail, I think you can do a lot of funny stuff that you can't do as Pistol Pete. But I can't think of not just because I served in that role, but I can't think of a better mascot in the country. I mean, if you can name one, tell me. But I don't know that it was so much portraying Frank Eaton as it was representing the university that's what drove me. The honor of doing it right, doing it well, doing it classy meant.
Yeah. Now, what do you think Pistol Pete, how do you think Pistol Pete represents Oklahoma State University and the state of Oklahoma?
Well, I tell you, when I was Pete, they ran a survey across Oklahomans, and they said, who are the most recognizable Oklahomans? And I came in number 2 behind Boren, who was the state senator, or the U.S. senator then. So it wasn't me that did it; it was Pete that did it. But the number 2 most recognizable figure in Oklahoma was Pistol Pete, according to the survey. So it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. Now, did you? Let's see what other questions we have. Now, do you have now? Now, do you still get introduced as a former Pistol Pete, or what's the reaction of people when they hear, "Hey, Rob, you're a former Pistol Pete"? What type of reaction do you get?
A real shocked atmosphere, a real shocked reaction. I'm in a button down environment with white shirt and silk tie kind of a thing.
Yes.
And I work in public affairs, so I'm kind of in a serious technical business, and
Yes.
so it comes as a shock that I was in fact a college mascot, because they think of they think of the folks who are wearing the fur coat and have the big tail to do silly stuff, not the mascot you and I know.
Now, how did you being Pistol Pete? How has that translated into your post OSU career?
I would tell you that my very first job, that was the difference maker. That with all the candidates, when that became known, that was a distinguishing factor. Not that that's what got me in the door, but I really truly believe that when you got down to hey, we got this many slots and there are this many people.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say that was one job I got because of it. Second of all, I tell you that my second job was working for Oklahoma State University in the athletic department.
Okay.
And that came out of relationships built up at the time, and they called me and said, "Hey, would you be interested in doing this?"
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's because of the network that was built here, and the way that I represented the university and the relationships that were built.
Yeah.
And then I'll tell you, there's a couple of guys that you'll talk to in this thing that. Because I know them, because I know the quality of guy they are. There's two of them that I've been able to help in business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an interesting group of guys. It's a group of guys that have a shared value, that being Oklahoma State. And if you're watching two up or two down, where you can really pay attention and get to know these folks, you can really find out there's some quality folks.
Yes. Now, did being Pistol Pete help you interact with people?
Well, without question.
Did it improve your people skills, or?
It improved my presentation skills.
Okay.
Without question. And again, it all started from just trying to get to be Pete.
Yes.
To being the student speaker at the honors banquets.
Mm-hmm.
But you meet all kinds, and you go into all kinds of ambiguous situations. Sometimes there's lots of detail around them. Sometimes there's very little detail, and you're pulling in a parking lot looking for somebody named Goodpasture, and you find out half the town's last name is Goodpasture. So without question, it develops your interpersonal skills.
Now, did it also help develop your interpersonal skills with children, or how did you react with the kids as being Pistol Pete?
I had no idea until I was actually doing it, the amount of parents who would bring children close to you who weren't really too hip. Now everybody knows that there are stories of children being afraid of Santa Claus when it's picture time, but can you imagine this oversized head and this bright orange hat? And then you have two enthusiastic alumni parents who are insistent that this 1.5-year-old, hang with this kid. I didn't know that I was going to run into that. When I found out that I was going to run into that, I ran over to the Alumni Association and said, "Who do we know that's in the candy business?" And I got in touch. I got in touch with an alum, and he sent me a crate of bubble gum, and told me when I ran out of that to call him and he'd send another one. And so my bag. Besides the blanks for the gun, I also had a box full of gum for each event, and both pockets were full of gum underneath that vest. So if I ran into the scared kid, you do this, and all the fear dropped away as they were reaching for the gum. So thanks to an alum, I was able to overcome that.
That's good. Did you, now, as you guys are having this 50-year reunion of Pistol Petes, is there a bond between the former Pistol Petes, and if so, what's that like?
The reunion's great fun. I'm a different Pete than the others because there were 3 of us at my wedding. I appeared in another guy's wedding.
Mm-hmm.
As I told you, I've been able to help 2 in business. I've been able to see several of them, even though I'm 1,100 miles away.
Yes.
I've been able to see several of them over the course of the years, whether it's back for Christmas or anybody who's coming through that part of the country. I make we make time to see each other. There's a huge bond, and then the folks that are too far outside of your era, there's an immediate connection, an immediate I want to get to know you and I want to get to like you.
Yes.
And so you become friends pretty quickly, even with the folks that you didn't know.
Have you met the current Pistol Pete?
I've not. I'm anxious to do that. Again, I rolled in this morning, so I haven't had an opportunity to do that yet.
Now, how do you see yourself? How do you see your legacy as Rob Reynolds, the Pistol Pete? How do you want people remember you when you were Pistol Pete? Is there anything that stands out?
That used to be important to me, and I don't know that it is now. But I tried to start what I call Pete's Partners, and Pete's Partners lasted a couple years before it faded away. But it was just another group of guys that used to pull the big drum. But anyway, that thing faded away. I was kind of disappointed that faded away. So you hate to see that happen. But for me, the Pistol Pete thing is a great memory, one of the best experiences of my lifetime. My family knows that, and I've got great friendships that'll go on forever. For other folks who find out you're Pistol Pete and aren't a part of the OSU family, if you will, hopefully they're gonna know all of these guys are class acts because I handled myself in a class way.
Now, I heard there's a tradition of like Pistol Pete gets left behind someplace. Did that ever happen to you?
Yeah, I missed that one.
Okay, that was after your time?
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to check that. Now, what would you tell a student who wants to be Pistol Pete? Well, you've served on the Pistol Pete selection committee, as they say. What would you tell that student who wants to be Pistol Pete?
I would tell them that it's 100% dedication to that.
Yes.
And that academics should be their second priority. No, I'm just kidding. It's all time consuming. It's and there's a bunch of us ahead of them that are going to be watching and want them to do it in a class way and want them to be in this deal 100%. So if they think it's just putting on the head and going to 8 football games, they got another thing coming, and they need to rethink that. But I think folks get that figured out before they get there. Again, it's been a number of years since I've been a part of the selection process. Been away from Oklahoma 10 or 11 years now. But when I was interviewing, the guys that were interviewing at the time knew it. That it was something that was pretty clear that this was going to be it for you as far as extracurricular goes.
Now, who were the Pistol Petes that you helped select? I'm just curious.
Scott Petty, Lance Millis.
You got a nice group right there.
I'm trying to think of who else was in there.
Rick Wilson?
Yeah, exactly. And so that would have been
those 3 years.
That's kind of 85 to 89, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Those were the years I was around and could help. Yes.
Now, what did you get even more special pride when they were named All-American mascot? Did you get a sense of pride? Hey, we selected this kid and he became an All-American mascot.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I had walked a mile in those same boots before in camp. And to believe, to understand that they were able to pull that off, just how good those guys had to be, because the competition in those things were just incredible, and then to see them, go up against that level of competition, and absolutely, you bet.
Now, looking back, would you do it all over again, being Pistol Pete?
All over again, and I'd do it even better than I did it the first time.
What would you improve on?
I would just work to be funnier. I would have studied other. I've been studying mascots since being a mascot.
Okay.
And I would have put a lot more study into it to see good ideas, modify them, steal them, use them. You know,
That's right.
I was on the fly, while some of the stuff was clever and funny, there's so much more you could have done. But oh no, I'd love to have an opportunity to do it again.
That's good. Now, where do you live now?
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio now.
So, Brutus. What do you think about Brutus?
I think this is going to be officially archived, so I have to be careful.
Okay.
I'm on record here. Brutus is a nice guy.
Yes.
He doesn't hold a candle.
Okay. Good. And you went to the better OSU, if you don't mind me inserting that.
I've been reminding people this,
Yes.
this last couple of weeks the higher ranked OSU is.
Yes. Now, is there anything else that you would like to add before we go? Let you go.
No, I'll think about this and maybe shoot you guys an email or something about something.
Well, you can add it to the transcript
that I've come up with. Great questions. You're on the fly here, so
that's right. So, thank you very much, sir.
You bet.
And I appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for coming back. That's for sure.